So you make your money being a tag team wrestler. Who tells you Jimmy Del Rey is fired?
Uh, let's see. Trying to remember how. Well, I think Jimmy told me. So he was fired. So
And like,
okay.
what's the call for you? Like, do you still get
Well, by
booked?
that time, yeah. By that time, we've been, let's see, we've been off, and then Jimmy calls and says, "Yeah, man, they just let me go." So okay, so I sit there for a couple days, and then I call them and say, "Guys, if there's anything that comes up, I'd really like to still be a part of WWF." So okay, we'll let you know. They called me right back. Said, "Well, how would you like to dye your hair blonde, cut it in a crew cut, and be a Bodydonna?" I said, "Absolutely not." I said, "Okay," and hung up. And I thought about
Who
it.
made
I
that?
said,
Who made that call to you?
"That would be somebody who might be either related to me or not." So
got, got it.
yeah, so my brother called me up and says, "How would you like to be a Bodydonna?" I said, "No, no, really wouldn't." So okay, talk to you later. That was it. Then I called him back and says, "Well, it's just hair. We can get around it." And I still thought I could get around cutting my hair, but I knew deep down inside, I really didn't want to be part of the drama that was Chris and Tammy. And I love Chris. I just didn't
Right.
care for Tammy. And so they called me to Hershey Park, Pennsylvania. We went, or Hershey, Pennsylvania, not Hershey Park, but in Hershey, Pennsylvania. They took me to go get my hair cut. Candido came with me to show him exactly how to cut it. So he needs his haircut just like this. And I'm looking at it going, "Oh my God, I've never had a crew cut in my life, and my hair was my shield. And when they cut it off, man, I felt exposed. I felt naked. And yeah, that was that.
Do they do they make any promises when they offer you the body Donnas? They say we're gonna keep you
Uh,
together, we're gonna give you a tag belt, or just hey, let's give it a shot.
let's give it a shot. And I'll be honest with you, my heart wasn't into it. It was, Tammy.
Hmm.
Yes, yes. And, I knew Tammy when she was 18 years old and came to Smoky Mountain with Chris, or came to Memphis with Chris. And um, so I just wasn't looking forward to the drama that I knew was awaiting me, because I had already had a episode with Tammy and Chris with some drama, and I thought, "Oh God, now I'm going to be a part of this team, and it's not only going to be all over me, there's nowhere to escape it, unless it's not at the arena and not on the road." And I was on the road and at the arena all the time.
Did you travel with Chris and Tammy?
Oh, I traveled one time with Chris and Tammy, and that was it. From the time we stopped, or from the time I got in the car, Tammy never stopped. She never stopped complaining. She never stopped getting on Chris. She never stopped talking. She never stopped. She was not a nice person. And she was giving him grief just to give him grief. She didn't know any other way. I think she was bipolar back then, and she had issues. But everybody kind of just overlooked it and allowed her to do what she wanted to do.
So I'm from New Jersey. I broke in '92. Chris was probably, oh God, broke in like 88, 89.
Yeah.
So he was like the indie guy that all of us Jersey guys wanted to work with. So I got to work Chris, gosh, 15 times. I mean, I love Chris Candido. How did you actually like working with Chris?
Oh, I loved working with Chris. I loved working with Chris as a team. I loved working with Chris. I worked with Chris in ECW arena, after we broke up, and they booked us together at the arena. And I loved working with Chris and against Chris. Chris was great. Chris loved wrestling. That's all he wanted to do. But as some of us find out, you get involved with people that are toxic, and uh, that's that's detrimental to everything you do in life, being around toxic people. You don't want it, man. You don't want it.
You surprised where Tammy is right now?
No, not really. I mean, I'm disappointed, but I always said, you know, if she doesn't get help, she's going to wind up killing somebody or herself. And unfortunately, she wound up killing somebody. So it doesn't shock me. It doesn't surprise me. I'm disappointed that she couldn't get her stuff together. She'd been in rehab, I don't know how many times. And they say in rehab, you know, still there's those unfortunate souls who just can't seem to find the way. And she's just one of those unfortunate souls. You know, she's got she obviously has issues, and that's something that'll probably help her with behind bars, but she needs to stay away from society, my opinion.
I mean, these issues, death or jail, are the only two. So only two
Yes,
ways to get that you're going to end up with those issues.
yes, it's death, jail. No, 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 no. It's there's three, I think. But death and jail are
Broke.
certainly on the list. Yeah. Yeah.